first-time coaches, Daryl Dixon, and new phone posits, plus a review on Netflix's Supercell. All coming up next on the original Jeek Podcast.
1 2 1 2. I go by the name of DJ What, and you're now listening to the original Jeek Podcast. Let's go.
Ready to make an entrance, so backward cut. Come on, cut for me.
Oh yeah. Whoa, slow down. Whoa, speed up.
Fresh.
Making me itch.
What up, Jeeks? I am your host, RockinMrMagic, the original Jeek, and you are listening to the original Jeek Podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to be back here again for another pod. I apologize to y'all who love having the guests on the show. I personally prefer having guests on the show because the original Jeek Podcast is out here to have the best conversations combining sports and geek content. But today, I will be combining by myself, unfortunately. But we're going to have a good time today, regardless of that. So, to jump off the show, I'm going to jump into a little PWC. What am I playing, watching, and or creating? Well, I've been firing up the PS4. Yeah. Been firing it up a little bit more than been firing up the PS5. I've been still jumping on Destiny because, I play Destiny, bought the, Final Shape DLC, so I'm playing that. But most of the time that I have been playing games, which is not as much as I'd like, I've been playing Shenmue III because I waited so long for Shenmue III, and I copped it, and I played it. But I regretfully admit, I never beat it. Because part of me likes to do every little side quest, collect every little item, and I had more time as a younger man to do that before completing the story. I'm in my 40s, bruh. I had to look at myself and be like, yo, you ain't got time to do every little thing before you beat the story. So I am going to complete the story. My goal by end of next week, complete the story in Shenmue III. And then maybe I can finally talk about Shenmue III because I really haven't had the opportunity to because I had not beaten the story. So I just completed, I'm guessing, the first half, or I just left Bailu Village, and at the next location, which I forget the name already, starts with an N, but I'm looking forward to completing this installation of Shenmue 3. And if there is a Shenmue 4 needed, I hope we don't have to wait another 15 plus years to get it. Man, what else am I'm not playing yet, but I'm going to be playing some more Switch. I'm going to connect my Switch to my television because I don't take it as much with me as I used to. Or when I do take it with me, it's generally during my kids' basketball season or volleyball season. That's when I take my Switch with me. And being that I have an iPad that was blessed upon me for my birthday this year by my wonderful aunt. Shout out to my aunt, the wonderful Christina Sharp. Much love. With the iPad being a work creative tool plus a fun purveyor, I will probably be taking my Switch out with me less. So, in lieu of doing a lot more Switch playing on the television and actually using my dock, which I've never used in the years I've had my Switch, I was at Ross and saw a wired controller, which I prefer to use, especially I'm playing classic games or playing Street Fighter 2, classic side scroller, old school NES games or SNES games in the emulator. So, because I prefer the controller, I got myself a controller. For those listening and not watching on YouTube, or if I ever put this like on Patreon or something like that, I got the Animal Crossing New Horizons controller. It's blue, which is my favorite color, and it's full of adorable Animal Crossing characters, including my man KK Slider. So, it was this one or Super Mario 1. The Super Mario 1 was cool, but it was just too much white. It didn't have a lot of variance to it, where this has primarily blue, but the animals pictured are all different colors. So it adds an element of fun, creativity, and soothingness. Looking at it, it's got a soothing, cool blue type color, which I dig. So, Animal Crossing controller, definitely going to yield a lot more playing on the Switch for me. I think that's it for PWC. Oh, I should say creating. So, we are going to have another live stream. End of the month, July 28th. I haven't set a time yet, but I think I'll set a time. I will set a time with the participants who, so far, I've got 3 out of the 4 participants from our last live stream reviewing X-Men 97, who are all down to return to discuss Netflix's Supercell as a panel. Hopefully, Miss Jackson, if you're listening, just waiting on you. So hopefully, Liz, Greg, Jewel, and Iowa Jackson all return to discuss Netflix's Supercell. But if Miss Jackson cannot return for whatever reason, I will find a suitable stand-in for her. More on Supercell later, because I will be reviewing that. I like to keep my opinions mostly to myself during the live streams, because it's about what others think. I can say what I think on this show whenever I want, and you will get that. But first, we got some quick hits. Quick hit number 1. Jessica Campbell has become the NHL's first woman full-time coach in NHL history. Big ups, kudos, congratulations to Miss Jessica Campbell. If you don't know who Jessica Campbell is, because you're not a big hockey fan, or they just, honestly, I don't think the NHL made it a big enough deal personally regarding this bit of history. But Miss Campbell played hockey collegiately. She has coached hockey in the AHL, which is essentially like the minor leagues of North American hockey. She also coached, because she's Canadian, she also coached for the Canadian national teams. And she has been working for the past couple seasons with the Seattle Kraken. And the Seattle Kraken are the team who made her the first full-time woman coach in NHL history. A historic addition to the staff, and a hockey player turned coach who is definitely deserving of such an honor. Now, I'm a hockey fan, but not as much as I'm a fan of other sports. And as a Red Wings fan, I really don't pay a huge amount of attention to other teams outside of my Red Wings. I generally don't pay that much attention to general NHL news. But in reading about this and then doing a little digging on Miss Campbell, I was really impressed with her resume, her accomplishments in hockey. She wasn't some big name that really would garner a lot of attention. It's not like if Serena Williams made history by coaching, men at the highest level individually or something like that, where someone who's in the GOAT conversation, like it would be it's not like Cheryl Miller was coaching an NBA team. That's something that, even though it would be the first, people wouldn't be that surprised about it because Cheryl Miller is in the GOAT conversation for women players. Jessica Campbell, to my knowledge, is not in the GOAT conversation for women's hockey players. But Jessica Campbell has a resume that is well worthy of being the first woman full-time coach in NHL history. So congratulations to her. And to the Seattle Kraken, congratulations to you for making history with her, and best of your season for every game that's not against my Red Wings. Next quick hit we've got is some news in the entertainment world. So I don't know if any of you listeners there in Jeek Nation, either listening to the podcast, in the Facebook group, on IG, on Twitter, I don't know if any of you are still watching The Walking Dead spinoffs since The Walking Dead as a show ended, but to me, it really never ended. It's just branched, in my opinion. So I don't know if anyone is, I think Fear the Walking Dead is on its last season or just ended, but we've got the Daryl Dixon show that has Carol showing up in it. We've got those that, I don't know, was it Those That Stay, Those That Remain, Those That Something with Rick and Michonne, which I tried watching. I watched like the first couple episodes, and I was kind of determined to like finish, Walking Dead, like keep going and like have them finish the story. I haven't watched beyond the first couple episodes. I did watch all of season 1 of Daryl Dixon, and I did watch all of season 1 on the Maggie Negan, New York, Dead City, something like that. Yeah. But there was a bit of news because Norman Reedus, who famously plays Daryl Dixon, who is a character that was created for the Walking Dead show. It's not a character that exists in any way, shape, form, or fashion, really, in the graphic novels, though parts of other characters from the graphic novels are kind of spliced into Daryl Dixon. He did actions and things and roles that were done in the graphic novels by other characters or a combination of other characters. So Norman Reedus says that he would like to play Daryl Dixon for longer. In fact, he says he would like to play Daryl Dixon for another 6 or 7 more years. That's a lot, y'all. Like 6 or 7 more years? Walking Dead? And I'm all for like liking the character, wanting to stick to a character. And if you can make it work, God bless. Keep getting them checks. Keep getting them checks, Norman. If you can get them to pay you, get them checks. But just as fans, pop culture itself, like maybe I'm just not in the right circles, but I really don't see anybody checking for Walking Dead like that no more. Like it's been a minute. Is it worth AMC's money to keep putting into producing more Walking Dead content for next 6 or 7 more years to keep Daryl Dixon going? Like I just don't see it. Now, I didn't dig what was going on in this whole France. I was trying to figure out how Daryl Dixon crossed the ocean to begin with, and how. I'm not even getting to it. I'm not getting into it because it don't make no sense on how he crossed the ocean, and not just crossed the ocean, how he washed up ashore in France. Like, bruh, I'm okay. I said I wasn't going to. I'm not. I'm done. Self-control. Next quick hit, because there ain't going to be a quick hit if I keep rambling and ranting on about Walking Dead. Okay. Something else. Entertainment. Comic-related entertainment. Finn Jones. If you don't know who Finn Jones is best known for his role in Game of Thrones as the Knight of the Flowers. He played the pretty boy lover of the youngest Baratheon. He was Renly Baratheon's boyfriend, Marjorie's brother. Now I'm forgetting his name. Why am I forgetting the character's name? Sir Loras Tyrell, the Knight of the Flowers. He's most famous for that role, but he is also famously known for doing a horrible portrayal of Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist, in the Marvel series Iron Fist, as well as Defenders. Finn Jones has said he would like a Heroes for Hire series starring himself and Mike Coulter, who played Luke Cage, aka Power Man. The comics, Luke Cage and Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist, form the Heroes for Hire. It's a street level team. It's a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of that initial iteration of Heroes for Hire, as well as the following iterations that included Misty Knight and other street level heroes. I think a Heroes for Hire show will be dope. I even thought, instead of calling the Defenders show Defenders, they should have gone with Heroes for Hire as the name of the series instead of the Defenders. But you could have used either one, because there was times where they are all in the Defenders. So that works. But Heroes for Hire, to me, would have been more fitting, especially since they are mostly street level focused. And Misty Knight being a character involved primarily within Heroes for Hire, it made more sense to me as a comic fan. But, I'm not at Netflix. I wasn't making those calls. Here's the problem with a Heroes for Hire series, because I think it's a great suggestion. I think it's I would love it. I would want to see Disney take that and make a Heroes for Hire. Hopefully with the traction of Daredevil, they either can bring Coulter back or look into recasting who they would potentially have as a new Luke Cage. But if any recasting does happen, the only recasting that is required is Finn Jones, because his role as Iron Fist sucked. Sorry, Finn. I don't know you. I don't dislike you. But I'll tell you this. I said this before, and I'll say it again. I understand why they didn't show you doing any fight scenes in Game of Thrones, because your fight choreography is horrid. Your fight choreography, your fight action scenes were the worst thing about your show of Iron Fist. Everybody else's scenes were dope. I forget her name, but the actress that played Colleen Wing, she was fantastic. The dude that played the drunk martial artist doing the drunken boxing, awesome. I want to say, yeah, everybody from The Hand was dope. Everybody else's fight scenes were dope, like everybody else's. But yours, Finn. Yours were terrible. I probably would have looked the same, if not maybe a little better, and 400 pounds out of shape. But my Lord, that was bad. I'm sorry, dude. It was bad. Unless you now granted, Finn, I'll say this. If you're out there putting in work, because you are a professional actor, and I'm never going to besmirch you, besmirch. I'm never going to besmirch your reputation by insinuating or implying that you don't put the work in. If you're out there putting in work, boy, if you out there getting better in fight combat choreography, even just basic katas, to look good, especially doing a martial arts based action show, cool. But I need to see some video. I need to see like Keanu Reeves training for John Wick level video to see that you can actually do it before I would ever press play on another Iron Fist related thing with you in it. Sorry, you were that bad. So if you put in the work and you want that to happen, I would recommend, if you put in that work, show the world that you're putting in that work, because I don't know anybody that I've ever connected with, communicated with, IRL or online, that thinks it will be a good idea for you to play Iron Fist again. All right. Two more quick hits here. Sneakerheads, Jeeks. For those who don't have big feet like me, If you are a fan of Tekken, if you are a fan of Foamposites, Tekken 8 and Nike are making a special edition Foamposite 1 that is Tekken 8 themed. I encourage you to check these out. I am going to have a link to, I forget I don't remember what site it is. I'm going to have a link with, no, I think I saw I'll find a link if I don't have a link to images of these Foamposites. They look amazing. And of course, it makes me jealous that they don't make the Foamposites in my size. One of the shoes, I believe the left shoe will have on the tongue, the top, the tongue will have the number 8 for the Tekken 8. The right on the tongue will have the Penny Hardaway 1 symbol, the 1 cent symbol, which is really dope. These Foamposites look really Galaxy style. They remind me of the Galaxy ones, the Universe ones, but they are darker. But I'll let y'all check the pictures out. I would love to see what you sneakerhead geeks out there think in the Facebook group. I would love to hear your thoughts because I think they're really dope, and I would cop them if they were in my size. Last quick hit, Double Dragon. Double Dragon is one of my favorite NES games. Double Dragon 2 in particular, Double Dragon 3, and the underappreciated and undervalued, in my opinion, Double Dragon and Battletoads. Actually, I think I might like Double Dragon and Battletoads better than the Double Dragon games because it was just a lot of fun and still challenging, very challenging. But I am a big Double Dragon fan. Outside of that horrible, even worse than Finn Jones in Iron Fist movie with Mark Dacascos and the white dude who I've never seen in anything else. That movie was so bad. Not including the bad movie. Double Dragon, I'm a big fan of. Double Dragon is getting the 3D treatment. They're going to get a 3D beat 'em up game that's currently in development and slated to drop in 2025. If you are a Double Dragon fan, I would love to hear what you think in the Jeek Nation community on Facebook, Twitter, IG, TikTok, whatever, however you interact with us. I would love to hear what you think, what your expectations, what you'd like to see, what you hope to see in a Double Dragon game, especially a 3D game for the future. All right, we're going to move on to our topic, to the main event of the episode, and that is my review of Netflix's Supercell. Be forewarned. Red alert. Hit 'em, Scotty. That's right. You've been warned. Red alert. Spoilers are here forthcoming. If you don't want to be spoiled, check back with this after you watched Supercell. All right, so before I go into spoilers, I am going to rank this show out of our 5 ranking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of 5 logos, I rank Supercell a 4 out of 5. There are elements that I really, really liked, and most of the elements I really, really liked. There were so many good things about this, from the cast to the execution to the full immersion of different elements of Black diaspora culture that exists within the UK. Soundtrack, theme, everything, not everything, but so much was so good. And only a couple things that I'm not a big fan of. And some of them aren't just like negatives, but just like I'm just not a big fan. And I really can only think of one like negative that I really have. So that is my non-spoiler ranking. 4 out of 5. Supercell. I highly recommend you check it out. And if you went past the spoiler warning and you're still listening to this and you haven't seen it, Now, after this, you're going to hear spoilers. So I highly recommend watching it. Take a day, binge it, take a couple days, watch Supercell. Very, very good. Okay, here we go. Spoiler time has come. I'm going to start here with some notes that I made for this show. Some details about the show, just to familiarize anyone listening and watching about the direction creation of Supercell. Supercell, first off, was the showrunner, creator, writer, lead director is Andrew Onwubolu, a.k.a. Rapman, if I'm saying that with a bad British accent. Yes, Andrew Onwubolu, a.k.a. the Rapman, or just Rapman. 3 episodes of this series were also directed by the Zambian-born Sebastian Henry Thiel. So two black directors, primarily out of the UK, were the brainchild and one directing 3 of these episodes. Shout out to them for doing an excellent job. Go to the cast. Whoever cast this, I didn't have the chance to find who did the casting for this series. Whoever did the casting for this series, cheers, mate. Fantastic. Well done. Bravo. Core. Keep bringing that casting because you did a fantastic job. Starting with the main character, the lead actor, Tosin Cole. If you are a fan of British television, and particularly Doctor Who, you would recognize Tosin Cole from his stint as one of the companions to Jodie Whittaker's Doctor for 2 seasons, I believe, with Doctor Who before he left the show. Tosin Cole finds himself in another sci-fi show, and I don't know if he is scared of being typecast into it or he's embracing it, but I believe Tosin Cole, if he's down with being typecast into it, I believe he has a long future in sci-fi related shows. He was really, really good, in my opinion, in Doctor Who, and I think he is doing a wonderful job here in Supercell. He plays Michael, who is the main character. Michael is a delivery driver. He has a girlfriend that he's very into, very looking to get very serious with. And we discover that he is a superpowered being with the ability to teleport and manipulate time. Next, we have Adeleo Adedayo. She plays Dion Ofori, who is Michael's girlfriend / fiance. Dion is a social worker. Then we have Nadine Mills. She plays Sabrina Clark, who is a nurse who lives with her younger sister. Sabrina is a super with the ability of telekinesis. Then we have Eric Kofi-Abrefa. He plays Andre Simpson, who is an ex-con. Andre is struggling financially because he was an ex-con. Jobs don't want to keep him. And because jobs don't want to keep him and he ain't got no bread, Andre is not really able to see his son. His ex-partner does not allow him to see his son without ponying up the bread. So he's struggling because he wants to be there for his kid. He wants to provide for his kid as a father, but his employment struggles are really limiting him in doing that. Andre is a super with the ability of super strength. And then we have Calvin Demba, who plays Rodney. Rodney is a young mixed black child. Man, he's a young man. I just think of him as a child because he's the youngest of the group and definitely was the most recent one to leave home. But he's grown. I'm not sure how old he's supposed to be, but I would say he's supposed to be in definitely his early 20s. I would assume between 20 and 22. Like he doesn't look 18. He definitely looks older than 18. Doesn't look 18, but he definitely seems to be someone who's portraying an adult in their early years of adulthood. Rodney is or more commonly known as shown as Rod. Rod is a drug dealer. Him and his best friend are drug dealers. Rod was kicked out of his home, as we learn, by his mother because she married his white mother who married a racist white man who obviously did not allow Rod to stay, even though Rod's younger sibling, his younger sister, who from a different father, she's white, so she stayed. He's not. He had to leave. Rod is a super with the ability of super speed. And then rounding out our primary characters, we have Josh Tadeku as Tayo Amusan, a.k.a. Taser. Taser is the leader of the Tower Boys, which is like a teen gang. He's also the former protege of Crazy, who is the leader of an adult gang. Taser is a super as well, and he has the ability to make himself invisible. Rounding out the supporting cast to our primary cast, we have Reja Ojo as Charlene, which is Sabrina's sister. Giacomo Mancini as Spud, which is Rodney's best friend. We have Michael Salami as Gabriel. I'm guessing that's Salami because it's spelled Salami, but being that Michael Black, he might pronounce it differently. So I apologize, Michael, if it's not pronounced Salami. He plays Michael's best friend. He club owner of the club/restaurant Onyx. And we have Travis J. as John, which is Andre's friend. And then rounding out our supporting cast, we have Getz, who's a British rapper, Justin something, but commonly known as Getz. He plays Craig. They don't pronounce it Craig. I just say that because of Friday. And I just like them. Craig, man. Craig. Craig, a.k.a. Crazy, who was the leader of that older gang I mentioned earlier. And again, he was Taser's mentor. We discovered that Crazy later on is also super, and he has the ability to absorb powers and from other supers and utilize them. So he's Leech, essentially. And we discover that Crazy knows a lot more than we realize. So that's the cast. And one thing I have to say, on top of that fact that the cast does their jobs very well, excellent portrayals across the board for all these characters, even the supporting cast that some of them like Spud, Gabriel, John, they don't have a whole lot to do. Crazy and Charlene are more involved than the others, but they all do a fantastic job. One thing about this cast, they are gorgeous. And I don't use that term frequently, but this cast these people are beautiful. Men, women, these people look fantastic. Tosin Cole's a handsome dude. Eric Kofi Abrefa is got that, the husky, not husky, but a little stocky, but he's got the full beard. He's a good looking brother. Tosin and Eric are both darker. Rodney's a light skinned dude with a little bit of a fro, and he's probably the least attractive of the men, but he's not he's not ugly. Whoever casted this was no uglies apply. All right, you can't be ugly and be on this show. That was just had to be the rule because ain't nobody ugly on this show. Tadeku, Josh Tadeku, good looking young man. And then you have the women who are just stunning. On the makeup, the hair, the women on this show are stunning. Adelo Adedayo, she's looks fantastic. Even when they have this woman getting out of bed with her bonnet on, she looks amazing. Nadine Mills looks great as well. Like they have, she's a nurse, so she's in scrubs like half the time. Yeah, they do a fantastic job with her, as well as with Miss Ohio playing Charlene. They have them dress up to go to the club. I'm telling you, everybody in this show, gorgeous, just gorgeous. If you want to see some beautiful people, Supercell, aka the beautiful people look great. That was one thing that I just noticed from episode 1. I was like, wow, all these people just look great. Just a fantastic job of just getting, great looking people to be superheroes. Something that happens a lot. People don't like to fantasize about ugly people being superheroes, but that's why the Morlocks in Marvel are, so important, because not every mutation, not every superhero thing is going to make you look visibly appealing. But all of these heroes in Supercell so far, even crazy, even supporting cast, even crazy got one of them brothers that take care of his beard. He's got that, putting that product in, got that glisten beard. I don't have that glisten beard, but I don't be putting that work in onto my beard. I ain't a pretty dude, so I don't really be trying. But if I was a pretty dude and I did try, I would probably have that, the glisten beard as well. I just call it the glisten beard. That's not a black thing. That's just a me thing. I call it the glisten beard because the beard be glistening. It's moisturized. It's got product in it. It's a dope look. I can't carry that look. That's just me. So let's dive deeper into this show here. Like I said earlier, I give Supercell a 4 out of 5 logos. And I'm telling you, man, Ratman did his thing with this. I got a little jealous because I have my own superhero story, and I thought at first Ratman either was listening to my phone conversations and stole my idea, but thankfully, as I continued to watch, I saw that he didn't. I'm not going to elucidate any more into that. I'm just glad that it wasn't the case. But no, Ratman did his thing. So in a nutshell, we have supers here, and there are a lot of supers, but we're obviously the show is focused on these 5 in particular. But there are supers in the world, and in short, black people. So far, I'm assuming it's just black people. We the only ones that got powers, and for some reason that has not been explained. It is connected through sickle cell. Everybody that has powers is connected to someone who had sickle cell anemia in some way. And so where, if there was a mutation, some type of genetic, some genetic coding to try to eliminate, make it worse. We don't know yet. Anything further will be pure. Anything I'm saying as far as the why sickle cell led to superpowers that I'm going to say is pure speculation, because the show has not shown any other light outside of the connection between having the powers and sickle cell anemia, which I think was great. The fact that none of those questions were answered in the first season, I think is fantastic. It leaves something for the next, season 2. That's something we want answered. Drop one breadcrumb. Let's drop some more in season 2. So far, it appears like only people that are powered are black people. We do know there are other supers because the show starts off with some type of holding cell facility with other supers of various ages, and unfortunately one gets killed trying to escape in the very beginning of the show before we even meet any of our primary characters. The show starts off with a bang, written really well. Dialogue is also pretty good, especially I want to highlight the relationship between Michael and Dion. This is a great, just black love depiction. You can tell they care about each other. You can tell that there's a lot of trust between the two of them. Even during the times where it's hard to trust because things seem crazy. You can tell that they, off camera, behind the scenes, they had taken the time to really learn each other, grow together, and build trust to be able to trust each other in very tough situations. And that, I think that, that baseline really makes the relationship so believable between Tosin and Adeodo. And they plus they look great together. They play off each other very well. They both portray emotion, concern, fear, anxiety. They emote extremely well, separately and together. They really are such a highlight to the show. The relationship between Sabrina and Charlene also very good. Older sister taking care of younger sister. Younger sister continues. It's a bit of a trope, but younger sister continues to, chase bad boys when the older sister doesn't have time for men, trying to pursue work, wanting to move ahead in the world. Very tropey, but a very real thing. And their relationship with each other, fantastic, very realistic, very well done. Andre, down his luck, got locked up for not, for trusting the wrong person, screwed his life up, trying to be there for his kid, wanting to be a father. Something also very real, a very real thing. It's happened to way too many people. And his pursuit of trying to reconnect with his son while dealing with the emergence of his powers, his best friend doing what he can to help his friend, to help Andre get work, all very realistic, all very well done. Michael's friend, learning about Michael's powers, not believing at first, but being there for him, and then having his restaurant bar becoming a safe haven for Michael. Very, very good, very cool. Taser, his gang. I can't talk much about. I mean, it's well done. I'll say this: Taser cares about his gang. He cares about his boys in the gang. He looks to try to be what Crazy was for him, as far as a big brother, a guiding light to them. As misguided as it is because of the violence and such, and trying to get into the drug game. He, misguidedly, but he's there for them. And he wants good things for them. And of course, and Crazy did that for him because Taser's mother disappeared. He lives with his grandmother. We come to find out that Taser's mother is the woman that was killed in the very first scenes of the first episode. So we discover that Taser's mother was a super, and that's why she's not around. She wasn't around because she was taken, because she's a super. And unfortunately, there would be no happy reunion for Taser and his mother because she is dead. And of course, I touched on Rodney in his introduction. Rodney, he's a drug dealer. And then what's the best thing for a drug dealer who wants to make money? Develop super speed. So Rodney, to really help with this 10 out of 10 weed, that's what I call it, this 10 out of 10 weed, because that's how he tries to get everybody to describe it. 10 out of 10, right, mate? 10 out of 10. Cheers, mate. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. He says it a lot, especially early on when he's trying to sell, he's trying to sell, they don't call them dimes, they call them balls, apparently. Again, I'm not in the UK, I don't know UK slang. Any UK listeners, those who, especially if anyone who started listening, thanks to the Josh Phoenix episode. Shout out to Josh for coming on the show. We're definitely going to have him back again soon. Any newer UK listeners, correct? Let me know if that is, if that's the right term. I'm assuming it is because Ratman, is from the UK there, or yeah, he's from the UK. It's where he lives. It's where he's famous. I'm assuming that's correct, but I've here in the States, I've never heard weed sold in balls before, but I digress. So what So what is the drug dealer trying to make a name for himself? Get some business, make some money, which is his goal. We don't know why he needs the money, but he's trying to make some money. He needs to make it fast. You find out you have super speed. He offers the 5 minutes or less guarantee. Get you your weed in 5 minutes, or it's free. I can't think of anything better than that. I mean, Samson Simpson in Half Baked was just a delivery service, but better than delivery. Super Speed Rodney's gonna get it to you in 5 minutes or less, baby. So, so Rod and Spud's business blow up. Rival drug gangs don't like this. They kidnap Spud, thinking he's the one delivering on this 5 minute or less promise. Spud gets worked over. We get so these people all live. Okay, before I get into that, so that's Rodney's story. Half black, half white. Mom kicked him out. We don't know anything about his father, but obviously his father is the sickle cell side, and he's a drug dealer trying to raise money for who knows what. So this is not a complaint. It's just it seems so. It's a show coincidence. It's not something that I don't like. It just seems very convenient that they all live in such a close proximity to each other. So like all of these people with these powers, these 5 people all live in like East London. Okay. I think it was East London. And they're all somehow tied together, primarily through Michael. So I mentioned in the introduction that Michael is a time traveler. And so Michael's powers, we get introduced to him first. They kind of manifest first, primarily because as he's delivering packages in Taser's hood, Taser stabs him and kills him. And then all of a sudden, Michael awakens. What in the world? Okay. All right. I mean, okay. So, so what happens is Michael's powers awaken because he's stabbed by Taser. And then Michael kind of wakes up and kind of half remembers that Taser kills him, but then Taser opts not to kill him. And later on, then Michael jumps to the future and sees Taser, he sees Andre picking up a car, he sees Sabrina making herself fly, he sees Rodney throwing light, doing the Flash thing, running fast and building up lightning to throw it. And then he sees himself, older, beard, braids. Because when you're older and you're seeking revenge in the future, you've got braids. That's a given. And then his older Michael, future Michael, tells present Michael the names of Sabrina, Andre, Taser, and Rodney, and he gives him a date. And that date, he says, you need to find these people because they're all like fighting together as a team, dressed in all black, ready to fight these hooded individuals. You don't see their faces. And the date is the date that Dion dies. So future Michael sends present Michael back to Michael's present to try to stop not only the hooded people, but to stop the death date for Dion. Michael does his best to find these people, and it becomes his primary focus. He's not showing up to work as much as he should be. He's trying to find these people, and at the same time trying to explain to, trying to keep it from Dion that he knows about his powers, and he really can't keep it away because they start to manifest in front of her. But the main thing he's keeping away from her, once she knows about the powers, he tells her about the future. He tells her everything except for the death date part. He gives her their names. She eventually starts to help look for these people, even though he tells her just to drop it. Again, because he doesn't want her to know about the death date. He's trying to do whatever he can to prevent it. Butterfly affecting. He's trying to impact the butterfly effect, trying to keep her from dying. Eventually, they all get connected together. We find out that Charlene's ex-boyfriend, who was supposed to be in prison for 35 years for murder, that's Craig, aka Crazy. Of course, Crazy, again, as we know, protege to Taser. Ronnie's a drug dealer, and his boy Spud are drug dealers. Crazy's a big, his gang controls the drugs. Taser and his people stole drugs because they're trying to get into the drug game. They stole drugs from one of Crazy's dudes. Crazy's dude beats up Spud. Andre hates drug dealers because he got locked up because he drove a car for somebody and it had drugs, and they got pulled over, and the person said, it's his car, it's his stuff, and his, possessions 9/10 of the law, et cetera, et cetera. He didn't drop dime, and there wasn't really any proof. It was one word against others, so Andre went to jail. So he hates drug dealers, and now he ain't got no money. His boy was like, look, I smoke weed. You know this. And I ain't going to get you high today, but I'm going to get you paid today because I went to the spot and I saw the safe. And now that you're the Incredible Hulk, you can go in there and grab that dough because you ain't got no bread. So, and Charlene, now that Craig out of jail, and she wants to get herself some, score herself some weed or whatever. So Rodney's trying to rescue Spud because he's getting beat up by Crazy's people. Charlene goes to the spot to buy her some drugs. Andre goes to the spot to rob to rob the stash house portion, and then Michael don't show up. Yeah, I'm forgetting somebody now. No, Charlene's there. Andre, Rodney. Sabrina is with Charlene. So Sabrina goes with Charlene to get the weed at the spot because Sabrina don't like Crazy. He's a drug dealer. He's a killer. She don't like him. She don't like her sister being with him. Rodney, again, trying to rescue Spud. Andre trying to get that paper. Oh, Taser. I forgot. So Taser's beef, and Taser shows up there, and then they all converge at this, stash house at the same time. Taser goes because one of Taser's little homies, the youngest one, they were all part of the scheme to rob the drugs from Crazy's boy, and they have, I guess, some gang thing where they had to fight, and the little dude, Tiny, had to fight the dude that was accusing them. Taser stepped in, fought the dude, beat him up. But apparently he shouldn't have fought. He shouldn't have stepped in. I don't know. I don't know UK gang culture. I don't know it. So this could be completely made up, or really how they operate for honor fights or whatever. But Crazy's crazy, hence the name. So after the Tower Boys are celebrating, and little Tiny is like, you didn't have to do that for me. Crazy shoots him. He shoots Tiny and almost kills him. Tiny's probably paralyzed. So Taser and the rest of the Tower Boys converge on the stash house because they believe that Crazy's there, and they want to kill him. So 4 out of the 5 all converge at the same spot, same time. They all see each other, and they all learn that they all have powers. Now, one big thing I forgot to mention earlier, powers activate their eyes turn, you get the yellow halo around their irises. So that lets them know that they have powers. And you can see the powers activate. So then they just all kind of discover each other. Later on, Michael finds the rest of them. He kind of finds them individually, tries to recruit them to kind of team up Avenger style and nobody's hearing it. And eventually, because of all these things converging together, they do. They discover that the sickle cell center that has been doing treatment and research is really behind the kidnapping and taking of supers, and that the people in hoods that have been chasing after them, they are also supers. They had gotten to Andre and convinced him to join them. Well, I shouldn't say that. They blackmailed him into joining them. And Andre switched sides during a big fight where there was the reveal that Crazy was also a super. And in this big fight, unfortunately, at the end, Dion is killed. Unfortunately, because that means Adiana was not going to be in the next season, and she was fantastic as Dion. But she's killed, and so Michael is obviously enraged and grieving. They do a little bit of a time jump. I guess a couple weeks, and all 5 of them are in Onyx. And Michael vows that he's going to go to the future, and he's going to find out what needs to be done, and he's going to come back, and they're going to get revenge. He knows he can't bring Dion back, but they're going to get revenge. And as we fade out to credits, they're all kind of like together, like powering up, and the lights are flickering, and it goes to black. So that's the synopsis. There's details I left out. That's the synopsis of the show. And again, it's a great watch. Watch it. It's well done. The only knocks I really have are just the coincidence of everybody being in like a East Londoner. That is crazy. But again, it's not that bad. I expected it once I saw that it was created by Ratman. There's a ton of British hip-hop. There's really not drill, which I think sounds worse than other British hip-hop. British drill, to me, sounds really crazy. Ari Spears does that. You know, like he does that impersonation of British drill, which is kind of spot on. But I'm not the biggest fan of British hip hop, but some of it I like, and the beats were fun, like beats were dope. I think my biggest thing with British hip hop in this setting, because I don't have a problem with it personally, it's not for me. I'm not British. I don't. It's not for me. It's for Black Brits in that area that culture is just not for me. It's not for Black American culture. It's not Black American culture. It's a music genre that's Black American culture related, that's bona fide for that area. So I mean, it's not for me, and I'm not trying to understand it. It's not for me to understand unless I really want to, dig deep and learn. My concern with it in this space is just that I don't know enough about what the music is saying to shed light on when and why they're playing that music at this time in the show. Because I'm pretty sure that it wasn't just to play popular music to transition between scenes or to underscore things. I'm pretty sure that there was some significance to the lyrics that had something to do with the different things I was seeing on screen. So that's one concern I have there as an American watching this show. The other thing, the thing that really bothers me is one thing Ratman did, and I don't know Ratman. I don't know if he did it purposefully. I don't know if he did it subconsciously. But the Black people electricity powers trope. Granted, most of the powers that we see are displayed from our 5 protagonists are not electricity based, except for electricity based, and we don't see any electric power use out of anybody but Rodney in the future. Problem is, every time their eyes yellow up and they power up, some type of lights flicker. There's an electrical current thing that happens, and they also really get drained a lot after using their powers, and they have to rest and kind of charge. So there's an electricity base somewhere in these power sets, and I personally, it's a pet peeve of mine. The black people get electric power, and look, I love electric powers. I think electric powers are cool. I think Black Lightning's power set's cool. I think the electric shock from Miles Morales is cool, even though I don't think there's not a single spider on Earth that does that. That's more like an electric eel. But hey, whatever. I think electric powers are dope. I really do. I really, really think electric powers are cool. I am tired of it being a constant black person has superpowers. They've got electric power somehow. That it's getting so redundant. So that's really my only knock on Supercell is there's the electric connection to the power set. Other than that, that probably would have put it at a 4.5 for me, almost a 5. But it's such a big trope, and it's so prominently shown throughout the series that there's some electricity tie-in that that brought it down for me. But again, do not let it deter you from watching. Watch Supercell, please. All right. That's going to conclude the review of Supercell. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the original Jeek Podcast. And I want to thank everyone for listening and continue to listen. And I want to welcome all new listeners and hope you subscribe. Please subscribe to the show. Audio versions on Spotify, Apple, Good Pods. Shout out to Good Pods, who's promoted us on multiple occasions. We appreciate y'all so much. Looking forward to see what new is happening in your app. You could also find us on YouTube now that Google Podcast is done. Auto updates on YouTube for audio only as well. And if you can't find us on your podcasting app of choice, let us know. Hit us up at jeeknation@gmail.com. Message us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whichever. And also follow us on those social media platforms for clips, reels, shorts, not only for the podcast, but other content that we create. Sister podcast, Breaking Ring Rust, our pro wrestling show, and other content that we are working on in the future. I'm your host, RockinMrMagic. We could not do the show without you. Thank you. And until next time, peace.
Ready to make an entrance, so backward cut. Come on, cut for me.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, slow down. Whoa, speed up.
This is DJ What, and you're listening to the original Jeek Podcast.